equals a.
Two-step equations with fractional coefficients.
We got it. So hopefully you found that helpful.
So we've got option
Again,
1 and option 2. I'm going to make a video
green check
for
marks
both
are
of
good.
them, and I'm
Red
gonna
X's are not
choose
bad.
whichever
It's just an
option you
opportunity
want.
to stop and
So
reflect
option
and
number
find your
1
mistake.
just borrows
Hopefully
from your
you found
past.
this helpful.
And in the past,
In this video,
deal
we're going
with
to talk about
different
how to integrate
denominators by
rational
coming up with a
functions
common denominator.
using partial
So in this
fraction
case, my
decomposition.
variable term is 1/3
So the first thing we want to
So
do
our
is make
first
sure
step
that
to isolate
this
1/3
integral
b
is
would
completely
be
factored.
to get rid of this
On the bottom, we
negative
have a
1
difference
over
in
8.
perfect squares.
And the way we get rid of that
And
is
so we
use
can
inverse
factor that
operations.
expression
So I'm going to
by
add
taking the square root of
1/8
x squared, which is
on
x,
each side
and the square root of
the
4, which is
equation.
2.
Okay.
One is going to be positive
So
2. The
that
other will be
obviously is
negative
going to cancel with this one right here, which means that
2.
I
So what we have on the bottom
1/3
is two distinct
b
linear factors.
will be equal
Now you might be
to,
wondering, what is the
and
difference
you can
between
change the order of this.
a
It
linear
doesn't matter. I'm
factor
just going to put negative
and
1
a quadratic
over 2
factor?
first, and then after that, I'm going to go ahead and add the 1/8 to each side.
Linear factors
Now we do have a
include
small
examples
problem
such as
over
x,
here. In order to add these
3x,
two together,
x plus 4,
I'm going to change this denominator of
4x
2
minus 5,
to a
those are linear
denominator of
factors.
4. And the way that
Quadratic
I'm going to do
factors, they
that will
typically
look
have
like
an x
this.
squared.
So actually, let me keep it
So
red.
x
So
squared,
I have
x squared plus 4, that's a quadratic factor.
1/3
X squared plus 3x,
b
that's another one.
equals, now
Or
I'm
x
going to write
squared
this
plus
negative
2x
1/2.
plus 7.
And what I'm going to
Those are
have to do is
quadratic
I'm going to
factors.
multiply this by 4 over 4.
Now to use the technique of partial fraction
Because
decomposition,
negative 1/2 times 4
what we're
over
going to do
4
is we're
gonna
going to
give me
break
4
up this
over 8,
expression
which means then I can
into
go
two
ahead
smaller fractions.
and add that with the second one. So I now have 1/3
So
b
here we have x plus
is
2 on the bottom.
equal to a negative
We're going to have
4
some constant
over 8
over x plus
plus
2
1 over 8.
dx. And
So then
here we have another linear factor on the
1/3
bottom. So we're going to
b,
have another constant on
negative
top
4/8 plus
over
1/8
x minus
is
2
negative
dx.
3/8.
If we had a quadratic factor, let's
And
say
then
like,
what we're going to do
for
is,
instance,
probably
x squared
the
plus 8,
quickest thing is to
instead of
multiply
putting a
by the
constant like a or b, 1 over 4 plus
So
1 over 5.
reciprocal would be 3
If we
over
wish to
1,
add
or
these two
just plain
fractions,
old 3.
we would need to get common denominators.
So
If we multiply
this
this
is
fraction
gonna
by
be
5
3
over
which
5,
means
it will
that
become
that's just gonna
5
be
over
1
20.
times b, which
If
is
we multiply this
b,
by 4
and
over
then
4,
over here,
it would become
let's see, this is
4
going to
over
give
20.
us negative 9 over 8. And
So the
that
sum of
should
these
be
two
our final
fractions,
answer. So
1
again,
over
option
4
number
plus 1 over
1
5, it's
just
9 over
continues from
20.
what you probably learned in 6th and 7th grade, that when you don't
Partial
have
fraction
a
decomposition
common denominator, you'll
allows us to
multiply
start
so that you can get a
with
common
this
denominator.
fraction, 9 over 20,
Option number 2,
and break it
I like
down
option number
into
2
these
because
two simple
option number 2
fractions,
says let's get
1
rid
over
of
4
fractions.
plus 1 over 5.
But in order to understand option
that's a good example
number
of
2, you
partial
need to
fraction
understand
decomposition.
lowest common
We could take a single
denominators,
fraction,
which
and
means
break it
that
up
if I
into two
count by
smaller
multiples
fractions.
of 2,
It could be 2 or
3,
more
and
smaller fractions. It
8,
could be 3
we
fractions.
have to
it could
find
be
a
4.
number that is
So that's the idea
common,
behind partial
all
fraction
3 of those numbers.
decomposition.
And let's see, I think that's
We're
going
taking
to
a single
actually
fraction
be 24.
and breaking it up
you
into
could make a
multiple
list
fractions.
and count by 2s, 3s, and then 8s, but
So what we need to
24.
do here is we need
Now
to
here's the deal, even if it's
determine
not
the
the
value
lowest
of
one
a
and
and
it's a
b
bigger one, it's
in
still
this
going to
problem.
work. So what I'm going to do
So
is
for
I'm
now,
going
I'm
to
gonna
go
get
ahead
rid of the
and
integral
multiply this
symbol
whole equation by 24.
and the dx term.
So,
And we're going to
here's what I
set
would
this
do.
fraction
24 times
to
1 is 24.
over
Actually,
x
I'm going to
plus
write this
2
all as fractions just to show you that this will simplify.
plus
So that's
b
going to be 24 over 3, b,
over x
and
minus
that's
2.
going to be
If we can calculate the
1
value
times
of
24,
a
don't
and b,
forget the subtract, so that's going to be 24
then we could use that
over 8, which
to
again I know that reduces.
find the indefinite integral of those two expressions.
And then negative 1 times 24.
So what we're going to do right
is
now
negative
is we're going to
24
multiply
over
every
2.
term
As
by
we said earlier,
the
when you
denominator on the
multiply by
left
the
side.
lowest common denominator,
So that is
all
by
these
x plus
fractions will
2
simplify to an integer. For example, 24 divided by
and
3
x
is
minus
8.
2.
B.
So when multiplying this
24
fraction
divided
by
8
these two
is
factors,
negative 3. And
this
then
is going to
negative
cancel.
24
We're going to
divided
be
by
left
2 is
with
negative
1
12.
on the left side of the equation.
At this point, it turns into just
If
a
we take
basic
a
two-step
over x plus
equation.
2
We'll add 3
and
on each
multiply by
side.
x plus 2 x
And
minus
we
2,
now have 8b is equal to, let's see, negative
the x
12
plus 2
3
factors
is
will
negative
cancel,
9,
leaving
and
behind
then we'll
a
divide by
times
8 on
x
each
minus
side.
2.
And notice that b is equal to a negative 9 over 8. Get the same answer either way. So either option is available to you. So negative
Now
9
let's take this fraction,
over 8.
multiply by those two factors.
Green check mark is good. Red
So
X
x
isn't necessarily
minus 2 will
bad.
cancel.
And notice that
We're
the
gonna have
explanation
b
delta
times
map, they
x plus
chose
2.
option number 1. But if you'd prefer getting rid of the fraction by multiplying by the lowest common denominator, have at it. Either way, you'll still get the right answer if you do the right steps.